Shaun, you just about made it. I thought you'd just been pulled in to take over from Conte or something.
No, mate. Around.
Welcome back to West Ham Unofficial. Hope you are all well. You join us for the Premier League Rundown Show back once again. Game week 28, of course, putting to the side games in hand. There is now 10 games to go left in the Premier League. We're getting to the business end and we're still none the wiser of who is going down and who is going to pick up those important places at the top. Hope you are all well watching. Drop a like and subscribe to West Ham Unofficial if you are new. The normal panel are here this evening. Firstly, Josh, how are you?
Not too bad, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. West Ham didn't play this weekend, so I was reasonably happy. Shaun, how are you, mate?
Can't grumble, mate. Can't grumble.
Good stuff. Love Island's finished, though. What are you watching at nights now?
So, wow. I've got a couple of things I'm gearing up for. I can do a TV review if you want. You've got time for that?
No, I know. I think we'll be all right. I think we'll be quite all right. Let's head on to a bit of Friday night football. I always like it on a Friday night. Nottingham Forest 1, Newcastle 2. One of plenty VAR decisions to discuss this weekend. Shaun, I'll start with you with this one.
I'll be honest with you. This is a game where I only caught where they're trying to discuss about it's that weird offside thing, wasn't it? Like, did the defender mean to kick it? I think there's been a few this year. I think my club's been involved in one. Yours may have as well. It's where they've overcomplicated the game. Basically, it's like they try to determine whether a player's leg goes out meaning to kick it or if it's a deflection. It looked like he meant to kick it to me, to be totally honest with you, but I don't know. It's a real stupid one where they've just overcomplicated it. I think if VAR is ever going to work, they need to strip it so far back to basics. Otherwise, it's just going to be this all the time. I know the conspiracy theories with Newcastle are a bit. I think in the space of a week, I think they've gained 7 points, not just their game, and they've been some very iffy. Well, they've had a 7-point swing to get up to like the fourth place sort of thing, with some very iffy VAR decisions in a lot of them. So a lot of people are saying the typical, the owner's money's paying off finally and all that. But yeah, they're not convincing me, Newcastle. But then again, not many teams are. Forest are at home, weren't they? Am I right in saying that? Yeah, they're always better outfit at home. They put up a bit more fight. But yeah, again, another game wasn't from what I've seen of it. It wasn't a brilliant game. I think a draw probably might have been fair. I thought, to be honest, but
yeah, and I think sort of when Newcastle, I think won the game in the end, it was a massive blow, I think, for Forest because the one thing that's going to keep Forest up are their home form, and if they don't win their home games, then they are well and truly cornered. But they lost this one, and the last minute goal keeps Newcastle going along a bit. Let's see, we've got in the chat before we move on. Simon, hope you well. Good evening, Jake. I'm sorry I've missed your shows. It's okay, I forgive you because it's been a manly few weeks. Hope all is good indeed. Jay, hope you are well, lads. With our remaining fixtures, I'm slightly worried. Could we drop? Well, could we drop? Absolutely, yes. Will we drop? I'm not sure, but we're going to park that for tonight because we didn't play and I had a nice stress-free weekend. Top Potato, interesting name. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. And let's move on to the demolition job up at Villa Park then, shall we? Come on then, Josh. Aston Villa 3, Bournemouth 0. Now in a game where Bournemouth, brewing with some confidence after beating Liverpool, came up and you absolutely battered them.
Yeah, I was quite nervous to start the game because I think we've only beat them once in the 4 times we've played them since we've come back up. And yeah, I was quite nervous, but no, we got the early goal, Douglas Luiz, and I thought we'd blow them away, to be honest, but we sort of just sat back for the rest of the half with the passing round the back, trying to play out for the back, which gives you a few heart attacks, but when it does work, it is nice, but it does get the crowd a bit agitated sometimes when they're without patience to build, trying to be a Martinez, doing his time wasting sometimes. But yeah, I think we just slowed the game down. Once we got to 1-0, it was all right. And then second half, obviously, again, it went much better. We kept getting caught over the top. Dominic Solanke getting in between the two defenders a few times. But last 10 minutes, we just turned it on. We got the 2 late goals. We had one disallowed as well. The penalty incident in the first half was just a joke. I was at the match, so at the time I didn't realise that it was on board because obviously you just don't have a clue what's going on. They don't really tell you when they're checking the VAR when you're at the match. But I saw it after when I got home, and it's blatant on ball. You're never going to see it. Arms in unnatural position. It's just a joke, the inconsistency with it all. But yeah, I think we definitely deserve to win. Never caused us too many problems. They got in a few times over the top with Solanke getting in between Mings and Conte. Conte are quite a poor game, to be honest. But no, I think last 10 minutes we went at them. We absolutely battered them last 10 minutes and first 10 minutes. For the rest of 70 minutes wasn't really the greatest of games, to be honest. Not much happened. But there was some good performances. Douglas Luiz had a very good game. Matty Cash probably had the best game in a Villa shirt. And Ollie Watkins played quite well too. Jacob Ramsey getting back to form now. It seems to be clicking a lot more. I think since Emery's come in now, we're third in the form table. So if it's just based off since he come in, we'd be third. So you can't really complain with that. The away form's improved. We've scored in every game since he's come in. I think we've only lost one away, and that was to Man City. So the away form's definitely improving, so that's nice to see. Just stuck in 11th, that's the only problem. Every time we win, Chelsea seem to get something. And every time we don't win, it's just Chelsea seem to draw. We just can't get out of 11th. I think we're in 11th on goal difference now. But yeah, it was a good performance overall. It's nice to end before the international break, but win definitely.
Yeah, and I think obviously for us down the bottom of your granddad says here, Villa did both of our clubs a huge favour by beating Bournemouth, and also it's the fact is that it stopped their bit of confidence before the international break as well. So that was gratefully received, I must say. Shall I could come on you on as well? I mean, David Moyes' first line on the next press conference is going to be, well, we were unbeaten this weekend. That's the positive he's going to take out of it. Robert, I hope you are well, my friend. Everybody else saying hello to each other as well. Right then, cool. Let's go down to the south coast. Southampton 3, Spurs 3. Now, I don't particularly like Spurs, Shaun, but not just because I want you to beat Southampton, but boy, was that never a penalty.
No, it was a bit of a howler, to be fair. Obviously, now it's back Tottenham in turmoil. I don't know what other fans of other clubs are looking from the outside looking in. It's a bit of a strange one because they say crisis, but then I suppose they look where we are in the league, not doing too bad. And people might think, blimey, a bit of an overreaction. I don't know. As for the game, it's a pretty even game. It's one of those sort of games that it's quite even, but you knew that Tottenham had the quality to go and get the goals where Southampton probably didn't. That's why it went 3-1 up. We and it 3-1 up. I think there's been about 4 or 5 examples of Conte making poor decisions with subs and team selections recently, and I think he took off 2 more forward attacking players 10 minutes ago, put on 2 defensive ones. Just didn't really need to do that. But yeah, the penalty, I've seen it from every angle, and I don't even think there was contact. So I don't know. Not enough's been made of it, but people like a story, don't they? But that one goal, Conte come out and out this rant, which is no shock because this is what he does at every club. So anything that's happened with Conte this week, I know it's been on TalkSport non-stop. Sky Sports can't stop talking about it. Bear in mind, there's not a lot else to talk about in the league at the moment. So it's music that there is. It's what we knew would happen when he leaves the club. There's no shock whatsoever. It's not anything special for Tottenham. It wasn't anything special for Chelsea. It wasn't anything special for Inter Milan when he fell out with all the directors and owners there. You can take whatever slant on what he said if you want, but it's only happening what we thought he would. We've known for a while they were going to probably leave mutually at the end of this contract. So it's kind of what there's various ins and outs at the club. That's maybe wrong with it to take it to the next level. I think that's the problem. The club's happy with 4th. They are. It's as simple as that. And that's sort of got ingrained in a few of the players that have been there a long time. So it's almost been part of I was going to say mediocrity, but 4th isn't. But do you know what I mean? If you're happy, if the whole club's ingrained and happy with 4th, you're not going to push on that more. But the cups have annoyed people, like Sheffield United in the semi-final. We should have beat them. Conte didn't go the strongest side. He made some bad subs. We went another one. We're heading out of Europe to AC Milan, which is nothing to be ashamed of. 1-0 over 2 legs. But we're heading out down to 10 men and he put the centre back on 10 minutes to go. So there's been little things which have niggled away at people, but there's no shock really. But Levy's never going to go, so fourth's always going to be acceptable. But
Ryan Mason to the end of the season.
I don't know. I honestly don't know. Maybe I'm not entirely sure. They know who the next manager might be anyway. Ryan Mason's. When you've got someone like Ryan Mason, he come up through the youth ranks. He's not a legend at the club, but he obviously had the accident of his head. So he's at the club. They've supported him. He's in danger of becoming that sort of interim manager that comes in about 4 or 5 times. Do you know what I mean? So for Ryan, and I expect you could think of one at your own club. Do you know what I mean? I expect Noble come in and do it once or twice. Do you know what I mean? It'd probably happen. But if they want to be, he's learned. Well, I think he's got his pro license now, but he's now worked under 3 or 4 different Tottenham managers now. I think at some stage he's got to move on as well for his own career. Like if you want to be a manager, you're unlikely to get the Tottenham job. If you do get the Tottenham job, you'll be like Tim Sherwood. You'll get it for 8 months to get sacked, and then you're on Sky Sports News working.
You love these channels, don't you, Shaun? You blimmin' love them.
I honestly don't know. I don't know who might come in. I don't know who might come. I don't know who might go. But there is a lot of what Conte said in that rant was true. But there is an acceptance for Champions League football, which is becoming harder and harder to get every year. Well, saying that, is it harder? I don't know. You got Newcastle thrown in the mix. There's always 1 or 2 every year, which is disappointing, isn't there? Do you know what I mean? Like, Tottenham have had it quite a lot. So to miss out on it and won it for a couple of years, I don't think it'll do the club that much harm. It might even do the owner good. Do you know what I mean? If he knows he's lining his pocket with about 18 million of Champions League money every year, then he's chuffed.
Well, there we go.
But yeah, a bit of a rant. But yeah, I don't really know what slant to look at it. But I'm not massively bothered by it all because I'm not massively surprised. So it's a bit of a strange one, really.
There we go. Sharky says VAR are not overturning many refereeing decisions of late. I've noticed it didn't look a penalty. I mean, never in a million years is that a penalty. And if it is, the game has completely gone down the road. Let's move up to London then. Brentford 1, Leicester 1 is next. I'll hand over to you, Josh.
Yeah, I think this is definitely one there. It was probably the forgettable game of the weekend. I did see it on Match Today though. Brentford, they're a funny team. I think they're really overachieving. They've won the lowest budgets and they've somehow, I think they're 8th or 9th. I think we're only now a couple of points off them. But I'm looking at some stat last week. They only lost 5 all season. That's ridiculous for a club who spent like that much money. I think they've had quite a lot of draws, but they only lost 5 all season. They don't really seem to lose that many. But as for Leicester, it's just, I think that was a good point for them away at a mid-table side. But I think the only reason Rodgers hasn't gone is because they probably can't afford to sack him. I think he'd be gone well sooner, to be honest. And I think Maddison will probably go in the summer, another player gone. I think they'll be all right this year. They've got the quality for now. But I think when Maddison goes in the summer, they'll definitely struggle next season. But I did see his assist, the through ball to Harvey Barnes. He is just a quality player. And I think if they miss that number 10, they won't have that number 10 next season to play balls like that. And I think they will definitely struggle. But I think they'll be all right this season, but if they can keep Maddison fit. But yeah, it's definitely the forgettable game of the weekend. Let's just say that.
Yeah, if we've sort of highlighted those 3 teams that are pushing for that maybe Conference League spot or definitely being comfortably sitting in the top half of the table by the end of the season, of Brighton, Brentford and Fulham. They're tight. There's only 3 points between those 3 sides, and Liverpool are on the same amount of points as Brighton. So there's four teams there within 3 points of each other, and it's going to be a bit of a scrap to see. Chelsea may come back into it as well. And Villa are there as well. So it might see some of them come into it. It's going to be an interesting battle for those sort of periods of the table as well. Right, some of you that watch us every week will know why I've positioned it like this. But next we'll go to Molineux. Wolves 2, Leeds 4. Leeds have won a game. Shaun, are you happy?
They have. They beat 2 poor sides. First 2 wins in about 6 months. Yeah, fair play to them. They're always going to attack, aren't they? They are always going to attack. So they're going to get the odd day where it goes right. And I think key with, I don't know if he started, but Rodrigo played, and he showed that with his goal. He showed that little bit of class in front of goal as well. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't an easy chance. He sort of one really good touch, little dink. Probably the sort of clever finish that West Ham have been missing from their forwards a little bit. Wolves, I'm surprised Wolves letting free to be on four. It's 4 in the end, wasn't it? Sorry, got a late one, didn't they? Yeah, I'm surprised Wolves don't usually let in that many. It's usually tight games if they're going to lose and that. Yeah, it was just Leeds' day. What I will say is, it was a bit like the Tottenham game when Leeds went 3-0 up. As soon as Wolves scored, Leeds went to pieces, and it went to 3-2 very quickly. They at the back, they're all over the place. Traore was rinsing. I think it was Firpo down the wing. But then I think it was the Wolves player with a stupid lunge on it. It was about on the 80th, 75th, 80th minute, something like that. Yeah, I think from what I could see and what I was reading, if he didn't get a red card, it'd been a very, very nervy last 10 minutes to Leeds. But they've got the win. The nature of the league table, I swear, every week it looks like it's getting more and more compact. I think that took him to 26 or 27 points, and I think there's about 4 teams on. I think they're level on points to about 4 teams, but they had the better goal difference. I think I'm right in saying that.
Pretty much.
How tight the league's going, it probably will come down to goal difference. That would not shock me at all. Yeah. But yeah, they've got the win. Do you know what I mean? They've gone there, they got the job done, and like I said, their main hope might be Rodrigo coming back. If he can stay fit, he is not a bad striker at all. He has got that little bit of class about him in front of goal. Not many teams down there have got it. But as you know, Leeds, they got a habit. They could just go to pieces at any time. Do you know what I mean? They're capable of just letting in 4 goals just within 10 minutes, because that's what they do. But there's a reason why the bottom 8 clubs are where they are, and that's because they're either very, 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 very boring, or they're very, very erratic. It's one or the other down there. But as I say every week, I can't call whether I said they'd be bottom 6 at the start of the season. I'll stick with that. But I can't call who's going to be the bottom 3 by a long shot.
I don't think anybody can. Let's move on. Josh, coming to you. Chelsea 2, Everton 2 next Saturday tea time kickoff, where Ellis Sims managed to scrape Everton a point, which didn't do us too many favours. Chelsea, around you with Villa, they're just lurking, aren't they?
Yeah, well, they're above us on goal difference. I think now we always seem to be so close to them, but we just can't get above them. I think it was a very good point for Everton. I don't think anyone expected. It looked like Chelsea was sort of coming back to form after a few weeks. They got 3 wins on the bounce. They scored about 4 in the calendar year alone, and now they've got like 5 in the last 3. But they are still scoring, I suppose. They've got 2 in this one, but I think Everton, they never really had too many clear-cut chances, but when they did get it, they just took it, and that's all you've got to do in a relegation battle to stay up. You see so many teams like Leeds or Wolves who have so many chances, but they can't take them. They've taken the chances and defended pretty well, and that's just what a Dyche team does. So definitely think they'll be all right if they can play like that every week. But as for Chelsea, it's not looking good. I think the only reason Potter hasn't gone yet is because they're still in the Champions League. I think they've got to give them to next season, but if they're not up there challenging for the league at the beginning of next season, they definitely could be off, because the money they've spent is ridiculous. They should never be here. But I think wherever they come this season, he's getting to the end of the season, and then they're going to see how he does next season. But yeah, it's a good point for Everton, not so much for Chelsea.
Yeah, for sure. And I think you grinded it to nail on the head here. Great point from Everton in the end. Spirit seems to have been much improved under Dyche, especially when we go behind. We don't just roll over. I think that's bang on. I thought if you were previously, before Dyche, I thought if you were to go down, then you were in trouble. But now you've got Dyche there. They ain't going to give up, and they're going to give it a good go. And just looking at the league table and sort of what we're dealing with now, Everton 15th. 2 points above the relegation zone currently, and Dyche is giving them some hope, as I thought most of us here predicted that he would. So we'll have to wait and see, of course, what will happen. Should we sell Skamaka, guys? I don't think we should sell him, but I think he's going to force his way out in the summer if David Moyes keeps his job. That is just my opinion. Sharky says Everton looking a lot better over recent weeks. Ensure cracking result. 2-2. Were you happy with that? Were you 2-2, Simon? I don't want to move out of 10 to. Do you like it down there, Simon? It's quite nice, isn't it? I'd love to be there. Skamaka needs to play up front with Ings. We've talked it to absolute death. You can't expect a striker to stand up there with no one within 30 yards of him and expect him to score goals, Dave. But anyway, that's a debate for another day, and we'll move to North London, where many people thought that Arsenal might be a bit tired, mentally might not all be there after exiting the Europa League after 120 minutes and penalties on Thursday night, but they turned up and they completely got rid of a managerless Crystal Palace, Shaun.
Yeah, obviously, since we last spoke, Palace got rid of Vieira. I think they didn't have a shot on target for about 3 games in a row, I think I said last week. But yeah, obviously, they managed a shot on target this one because they obviously got a goal, didn't they? I think we've said for months and months, I think Arsenal's run away with the league. I think Man City will get distracted by the Champions League. I don't think many people can see Arsenal slipping up either. They've just got that rhythm, which I don't think many teams in the league have really had this year. When you think about rhythm, I think Man United fans got a bit excited for about a month, didn't they? They thought they were getting a bit of a rhythm and they were going to get in the title race, but I think they were just dreaming. Man City, other than Haaland scoring 40 goals, I don't think they've got into a rhythm either, really. Like, he's got 40 goals in all comps, I think, now, and I reckon about 35 of them were like inside 12 yards. So,
goals are goals, Shaun.
You can't knock Arsenal. They've played the most attacking and adventurous football. I think that's the best way of describing them. A lot of teams in the league this year played a little bit more cautious. United have tried to sort of build a base, that, do you know what I mean, to not be hard to. I know Liverpool scored 7 against them, but they've had that sort of organisation they've maybe lacked for 2 or 3 seasons. And obviously, I think a lot of people thought Conte might push Tottenham up to 3rd this year, and we just have, for whatever reason, haven't kicked on. Maybe it's just the players just bored of the style or lack of interest. I don't know, but whilst all this is going on, like City trying to incorporate Haaland in this style, whilst all this has been going on, Arsenal have just been building on what they probably have the last 2 years. I know they finished in 5th last year, but don't forget the year before that they had a season of no Europe at all. So they had a whole season of. Remember I said to you the other week about West Ham maybe suffering now from 2 years of Europe. It can back up, and it can also work the other way as well. They've had one season of bringing all these youngsters coming through. No Europe, just playing the 38 Premier League games. I don't think they reached a cup final or anything that year as well. So it's a very clever building process. And this year they just kicked on. And I don't know. What's it, 8-point gap now and a game in hand, or 8 something like that?
Let's have a little gander. I'm not very good at maths. 8 points with Man City have got a game in hand.
Yeah, City have got a game in hand. I just don't see many.
I think that's against us. So that's that's like 3 points in the bag. Move on.
I just don't see Arsenal. They're going to have to lose at least 2. Look, yeah. I don't. It might happen.
Man City will have to beat Arsenal, and they'll have to go 10 games without losing now, I think, to win it.
Yeah, they've still got to play each other once, have they?
Yeah.
City are capable of beating Arsenal. That wouldn't shock me. It's just the other games which would. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think City beat Arsenal last time. Then did they draw at Bournemouth or something ridiculous?
Yeah.
No, they beat Bournemouth. They drew somewhere really meaningless and poor.
Yeah.
But that's what they'll do. And I think again, it's like the opposite end of the scale with West Ham. Like, they've got Europe, they've got the Champions League, they've never won it. It is a distraction. They will prioritise it. Your lot have got this Europa Conference, which it's a trophy, and it will be a distraction. And that is my biggest concern with West Ham, because you've got, would you get a Genk, didn't you? Genk in the quarterfinal. Ghent, sorry. Is that a poor man's Genk?
Shut up.
But yeah, I said before, I think either side of those quarterfinal ties, I think you're home to Arsenal, and away to Bournemouth. Is that or
Yeah,
Southampton? Yeah.
we got 9 games in the month. I'm really
You
not
know,
looking forward to
but
it.
so I know you're going to get to the stage where I'm sure I said to you last season when you were sort of going for Champions League. I said I don't see you getting fourth and winning the Europa, and you didn't get either. If it gets to the
Shaun,
point this year,
calm it down. Come on.
if it gets, I'm serious. You're the only ones down there with these extra
Yeah, I
games,
know.
and he's not making use of the squad either. And
No.
a slight worry for me a little bit as well is these Thursday night games at the moment. You haven't played a half decent team in it yet.
No.
Not since you started in bloody July or whenever it was. Okay, so he and I've said to you when you started Europe 2 years ago. It's not just the games which take out the players; it's the match day planning of the coaching staff. So you've only got 2 or 3 days to come back and plan for, I don't know, Chelsea away, Southampton at home. But also with the drop off and the quality being so great from Premier League to Europa Conference, the players beating these teams easy might get in that little bit of comfort zone. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, oh, they can beat these in second gear. Then when it comes to the Saturday to Sunday, when you've got to play in the best gear, you can't like sort of go up and down. That's my main concern for West Ham. Just juggling the poorness of conference. How poor you can be average and roll a team over. We've seen that the other week away in Larnaca, and then the next week you've got to play. Who beat you the other week when you had your worst performance? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just after it. Do you know what I mean? So the level is so vast between that cup and the dogfight in the Premier League. And I don't even rate the Premier League this year, but the drop, the standards you've got to change. That's my concern for West Ham.
No, it's completely, undeniable that that's going to be the distraction there. Just to finish off tonight, I want to ask the impossible question to you both. We're going to bring it up onto the screen, and Josh, I'm going to start with you then. So, out of the 8 teams left in the Premier League, there is 10 games to go, and of course, we've got 2 games in hand. Most have got 1 game in hand on that, but a few have played the 28, which leaves 10 and a bit for some games to go. Josh, I want you to give me the 3 teams to go down, and if you pick West Ham, I'm kicking you off. I'm only joking. If you want to pick West Ham, pick West Ham.
Right. So I'm going Bournemouth, Southampton, and Leeds.
Oh, Shaun's loving the Leeds. Right. Explanation. Go. Josh.
Oh, me.
Sorry.
No, I just think Bournemouth and Southampton. Bournemouth, again, they haven't really got too much money to spend. Probably got by far the weakest team in the league. They have had some good results, like Liverpool at home. They didn't really convince me when I watched them play against Villa the other day. I can't see it. I think they'll give themselves a chance. I don't think they'll be down and out. I think they might take it to the last day, but I can't see it. And Leeds, I don't know. I said from the start, before the season started, I thought they'd go this year. They'd lost the 2 best players. I'm not sure. I just think other teams like West Ham, Leicester, Forest, Everton, Wolves, they've all got much more quality than them. And same with Southampton, really. They just seem to can't get out of bottom. They get a lot of draws. They never really seem to win too many. They've had 3 managers in the season. I can't see them getting out of it either. So, yeah, that's my 3.
Yeah. See, you've kept everybody happy here. Look, Josh, you've kept your granddad happy with it, and you've kept me happy not picking West Ham. I like it. Right, come on then, Shaun. Relegate Bournemouth, Southampton, and West Ham.
Oh, I'm going to go Bournemouth first.
Yeah.
Bottom? Yeah, Bournemouth bottom. I've got a hunch based on this weekend's result. I think Forest might slide late. I'm going to go with them. Now I'm torn. I think I'm a bit biased. Maybe got a soft spot for Southampton a tiny bit, being a local side, and mate of mine plays in goal for him. I think I'll go Bournemouth, Forest, and I'm going to bottle it and say it's one of Southampton, Leeds, or West Ham.
No, you're not going to bottle it. You're going to give me a side. Right, you're not leaving until you give me a side.
I'll go Bournemouth, Forest.
Go on.
West Ham.
Yeah. I think it.
I can't. It's based on most of what I said in the last comment, but also when I look at them down there, I worry that you've got the recipe for the most unrest in the dressing room.
And I think as well, everybody's got to play these sides, but we still do have left City away, which is just a write-off. We've got Arsenal at home, we've got Liverpool at home, we've got Man United at home. I know everyone's got to play them twice, but we've still got some horrid games in there. We're going to play an extra 2 games this month on top of everybody else, possibly another 2 or 4 games, whatever, in May as well. I don't know. I really don't know.
I didn't want to say West Ham, and I think you've probably got if you go down, it'd be the best squad ever to go down on paper. Put it that way, okay? But you can't sack the manager. That's too late. He's got to juggle this squad. There's way worse squads in that bottom half than yours on paper. A problem. Whoever bought those players in the summer didn't help. We said then these don't seem like Moyes players. Whoever did that, you got at least one of them wants to go already. Clearly, right? So it's not all on Moyes. If you scrape by bottom, fourth or bottom, it's not all on Moyes because there's definitely someone else pulling some strings there. Southampton might not be. You might get lucky because Southampton just might not be good enough. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They just. But I think I spoke on one of your shows the other week. The likes of Southampton, Everton, maybe Wolves. They got beat the other day with the new manager. They just feel like squads more pulling in all in the same direction, and that's my worry for West Ham. It doesn't seem like you've got that.
I'm going to pick my 3, and I think the 2 South Coast sides will go. To be honest, I think Bournemouth haven't quite got enough there, and I don't think Southampton have got enough in them as well. And it's down to that third one. And I'm going to say a team that neither of you have mentioned. I think Leicester will go. I think they're a really, really poor side, and they've dropped like an absolute stone. They look like they got themselves sort of clear of it, and they've just completely dropped like a stone. And I don't see the appeal of Leicester, and I'm not going to predict West Ham to go down, obviously, but I do think it's a very, very, I think there's a high chance of us going down, but I'm not going to predict it. I'm going to hope we're going to stay up, and I just hope there's going to be 3 teams worse than us. And this year, there's plenty of them to choose from, and you could probably make an argument for all 8 of those sides to go down with just 4 points between them. Shaun, and then we'll go to Josh.
I don't think you'll need many points to stay up.
No, 35 will do it.
It's not going to take a lot. I've said I've not been a fan of the Premier League this year at all for quality. No. It's pretty dour. Do you know what I mean? Tottenham are hanging on the 4th and we're getting booed off. Do you know what I mean? I'm not. Yeah. It is poor. Fair point what you said about Leicester. I think there was come out the other week about their finances being right in the mire because what they keep doing, they keep selling and set. They've sold a lot of their better players, but this time they just bought a load of junk as well. Yeah. And with Rodgers, I know I said about Moyes, he's always been one of those managers, a bit like Conte to an extent, where when it's going wrong, it's someone else's fault. And if you're like that down there, the dressing room, you just don't. Again, you don't have that team spirit. You're not all put in the same direction. And looking at the table, like Palace are one weekend of results and going near from the bottom 3, more or less. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's mad, really. But I'm not a fan of Leeds. I think they'll be down there again next year. But they have got the new manager factor. They have sort of got a bit better, and they got Rodrigo back. Yeah. It's just I'll keep banging on about this Europa Conference after you play Ghent. Do you know what I mean? Have a look at their results, the squad rotation. You got Bournemouth and Arsenal either side. Then you'll have a semi-final, which would be a tricky semi-final probably. I haven't even looked that far ahead. You'd have either side of that. Do you know what I mean? I don't know when the dates are, but imagine if you've got 2 relegation 6-pointers either side of that.
Yeah.
And the teams down there have got no game for a week, and you're flying off to Turkey or something.
And we'll come to you, Josh, for the final thought on the relegation battle with 10 games to go. It's over to you, Josh.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be tight. Anyone's guess there's 8 teams, I think. But I do know that Everton played Bournemouth last game of the season. So that
we played Leicester last game of the season.
Yeah, it could be mental, but you never know. It probably will be. I doubt it'll be 8 teams on the last game of the season. I think that a few of these will definitely be safe by them, but I'm not sure. I've said the 3 that I think will go. I reckon Wolves, they spent enough money. They've got a good manager there. They play some good football. I think they'll definitely have enough to get out of it. Palace, I think it looks like Hodgson might be coming in. I think he'll steady it. He'll manage to keep them up. Everton under Dyche, they'll be solid defensively, and if they keep taking the chances like they did the weekend, they'll be all right. Forest, they are starting to slip a bit more, but the home form, I reckon, will keep them up. I think they'll be all right. Again, with the money they've spent now on the players they've got, they should be. Leicester, again, they were there for Europe the other year, just like West Ham, should have more than enough to get out of it. And West Ham just probably on paper got the 8th or 7th best team in the league. They should have way more than enough to get out of it. Should never be down there. So I think the 3 I've picked to go down, probably the teams who have the least quality, but that's not always how it works. But I do think they are the 3 who'll end up going.
We are still none the wiser as we enter April now. It'll be of who's going to go down. Not one team has sort of gone away from the pack. They are all down there, and we're down there together. Should we just add Villa to this? Do you want to be part of it, Josh? Just to make yourself, there we go. Look, Villa in the relegation. No, all right.
Jay, you said at goal difference. You got 3 teams down there in when they're the 20s. Look, so. Yeah. You might as well give that yourself a point over them. Did I see you're on 9 or 10 minus?
Should we have a little gander? Yeah.
Minus 9 or 10 I spotted. Do you know what I mean? You got Forest, so I said might go down on minus 27. Do you know what I mean? That's
Bournemouth minus 29 off that 9-0 one. Yeah. So yeah, you got minus 23, minus 27, minus 18, you know minus 19.
We're minus 27. 10, so. Forest aren't clawing that back. So no. It's that tight. It'd be a if it's not a point, it'd be goal difference. At least one of the places to go.
Yeah.
Just imagine if we go to the final day of the season and there's not one guaranteed team down. Because usually it's been a while. Usually there's at least one down before the final.
Yeah, easily, yeah. And I think, and one thing I will say is I hope that the King Power has got some decent signal, because it's going to be one hell of a roller coaster of emotions that day. Because I don't think anything's going to be decided down there. I really don't. I agree, Shaun. I think all 3 could be there for the taking on the final day. Right, we'll be here all night talking about it. Of course, we will pick this up when the Premier League resumes at the start of April. 9 games, West Ham, including Shaun's favourite competition, the Conference League. In there, it's going to be one busy month for me, for the journalists, of course, and the players, and for poor old David Moyes as well. What do you do? Ready to park the bus for 9 games in April. I hope you're ready for it too. And I wanted to end on a comment that I cannot find, but I am going to find it just to lighten the spirits a bit. I can't find him, but basically Gary says he wants us to go back and watch the videos of when we used to do this about a year or 2 ago and see how we've changed, and Shaun hasn't changed. Well, personally, I don't think I think I'll speak for Josh as well, as we don't want to see how high pitched our voices were back then. And Shaun, you haven't aged a day, my friend.
I haven't, mate. I'm still hanging on to my looks.
Thank you very much, everybody, for watching. We'll have a little break from the Premier League roundup show, boys. Thank you very much indeed. As ever, we'll be back after when we play Southampton at home. We'll be up there at the London Stadium, so we'll have a little break now, catch a few videos that will be hitting your screens over the next week or so, but England play, I can guarantee I won't be watching that. And we'll be back at the start of April to go again, and who knows who will go down. Arsenal going to win the league. Who knows who's going to go down? Chelsea going to finish in 10th. Spurs are in meltdown. Villa are going to hold on to 11th. And we'll see you soon right here. And West Ham official from me. Come on, you Irons. Thank you very much, boys. I'll see you later.
Cheers. See you later.
Cheers, boys. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Cheers, Josh.